Good. So recording is engaged. So again, let me express my deepest appreciation to you, dear friends, for all of your support in regards to this endeavor, this very important endeavor, right? And I think because of that, because of your support, your steadfastness, that we are certainly moving in the right direction. This concept, right, is slightly different than what we've done in the past because we've been pretty much, you know, I don't want to say restricted, but we followed what the conditions provided for us. And that was just, you know, working at a set pace, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is when we're going to do this. It's going to happen, you know, within these hours, and it's going to happen, in this case, at Louhelen. But now we're on a new we're in a new frontier. And I think the way we're going about it is going to create great opportunities for individuals and groups in the future, greater flexibility, pursuing it from the standpoint of having like a study circle format. And I think what we're learning in this process is that there are some things that we need to take into consideration. I mean, as we create the opportunities for folks to have a greater flexibility, I think what we're learning through that is that that in itself can be like a corralling type of situation where we've got to herd up the friends and try to give them options, but not too many options that it you know, stifles our progress to be able to move forward. I'm hoping to learn a lot in the sense that what's happening in the field, what are you guys experiencing? I know it's my understanding, and unless I hear differently, that everyone has received their packets, and folks have received, within your packets, obviously there would have been the contact information and names of your partner, your co-facilitator, as well as that individual, the individuals that we had delegated or deployed into your group. So let's start from there. Is that consistent? Is that accurate? Does everyone has received a packet?
One of the members of our group lives in Ontario province, and he has not received his packet yet. But we'll be able to share the screen when we, you know, we're starting our group this afternoon.
What's the name of that individual?
That's Kirk Weigand.
Kirk Weigand. I know we've sent out a ton of packets. Liz, are you able to, I don't have that in front of me. Kirk Weigand?
Yeah, he was sent a packet. I can look up the date. On the 15th, September 15th.
So what do you think? That's one of these mailing issues?
I used the address that he gave on his registration on King Street in Canada, Ontario.
You've had a conversation with him, Van?
We have been in touch with him. I just got a message this morning from him about a half hour ago, said he had still not received his materials. So we'll just plan on using, you know, sharing the screen to show the materials during today's session, and let you know next week if he still hasn't received.
Perfect. That address that Liz shared, though, does that sound correct? Do you have a chance to confirm?
I know it's in Ontario. I guess, Liz, maybe you could share the full address and I'll just jot it down. I don't see the chat window.
Yeah, the chat's missing.
Chat's missing?
Yeah, it's 629 King Street, West Suite 728, Toronto, Ontario. M is in Mary, 5, V is in Victor, OG9, Canada.
Excuse me, there is a packet that's online that Cam sent in email. Cam and Liz sent to us. So you could send the first bit to him, your person, so that he can print it out if he wants and have his own copy, write notes on it or anything until his stuff comes in.
Sure.
Just a thought.
Liz, could you just, I didn't write fast enough. Could you just stick that address in the WhatsApp maybe, or
Yes, I sure will.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like we're working for some reason without the chat window.
I have a quick question. One of our participants looks like something starting with a B, last name Sand Usher, possibly a hyphenated name.
Beverly Sand Usher. Uh-huh.
Okay, that person we haven't heard back from. We had to have a conversation with the group about changing our start date, and I've reached out to her email, but haven't heard anything back. Is there?
There's a phone number.
Okay.
Yeah, 317-371-2442. Beverly Sand Usher
Okay.
from Indianapolis.
Okay.
And she was sent a packet on the 23rd.
And is it hyphenated?
Yes.
Okay. I think that she was assigned to my Indiana High School group, but didn't show for that training. And so I realized that's why the name had sounded vaguely familiar to me. Apparently the full names and the phone numbers also came in the original packet because I'm a fill-in for Patrick. All right, so I guess I'll just get that information from Ted then. Okay, thank you.
Deborah, what I can do is send you, I thought you had it, but I can send you the more detailed information about the participants, the contact information that includes phone numbers. So let me email that to you now.
Perfect, thank you.
And Ted and Deborah, Liz, since we're talking specifically on some of their people, what are your needs at this time? Where are you? I mean, what are your needs? What are your questions? Talking specifically for Ted and Deborah, because obviously there were some changes made in your group due to unfortunate circumstances, obviously. But I'm just curious what you're needing in order to smoothly advance with the effort.
I mean, I'll let Deborah speak for herself. I don't think we need anything right now. We have postponed the session start from today a couple of weeks. So we'll begin then, and hopefully we'll have everyone participating.
Okay.
Ted,
And go ahead, Liz.
may I ask, Ted, were you able to confirm Gina Yazzie?
Deborah, I think you did that, right?
Yes, Gina is confirmed.
Okay, and Denise?
Denise,
Evan, yeah, Denise is confirmed.
yes.
Amanda and Nancy?
Amanda and Josh and her parents, Suzanne and Doug, Hank.
Oh, I don't have them. So maybe you can send him and me a list of who's confirmed.
Was there a Nancy?
Yes, there was a Nancy Mashtagi.
Oh,
Mashtagi.
yeah. I didn't see her name at all in whatever in the email that Ted started the process. I mean, he forwarded what, in the communication around having to change the date, and I didn't see Nancy's name. Ted, did you have anything on Nancy?
Let me see. I don't think so.
Is that a late addition, Liz? It may not have been on the.
She registered on the 16th. I think she was in. Let's see, what did we send? Yeah, to Ted, we sent Amanda, Nancy, Beverly, Denise, and Gina.
I'll have to look. I know I've gotten a copy of a picture of a list of people and their addresses, names, and emails.
Yeah.
But it's going to take me a minute to find out, because I've got several email addresses, and I'm unfortunately not consistently being used as just one email address. So I usually have to check several emails to see where did the message go to. So it'll take me a bit to find it.
we've been using that Yahoo.
Yeah, no, I would rather that it be, I had asked that the leadership.com one be used,
Yeah.
Oh,
because I
leadership
checked the
deck.
Yahoo one is a very old one, and I check that normally about once a week, but I'm checking it more regularly because of the situation of
Yeah.
things being sent there.
Yeah, that would be an error on my part, Liz. I know I did speak with Ted, and he had shared that with me, and all of the information I had sent out, I was going to that address, but I neglected to reiterate that and share that with you, I think.
Yeah, Nancy was on the list that you sent to me, Liz.
Oh, okay, good.
So she should have been contacted, nmmosh@aol.com. I would assume she was on my initial email, but I would have to double check that.
Okay. If you could include her name and her contact information when you send that over, Ted, that would be great.
I will.
Okay.
Okay.
So where it stood as of let's see, this is Sunday, as of Friday, was that we had found that Amanda and her husband and her parents, as a foursome, they all registered for the same group. And because of a family emergency, they had to delay by a week. But then there was another person, Gina, who joined, and she was going to have to delay, but a different week. And so we thought to accommodate them both, because that was 5 of 7, what we thought was 7, that we would, see if that worked. And it did work for those 5. And so we were just waiting for a response from Beverly and hadn't heard anything from her. And so maybe it's also an issue of an email address that's an older one. Maybe she doesn't look at it very often. I don't know. But at least with the phone number, we can try reaching out that way. And now we've got Nancy. So our hope is to start on October the 11th. Sunday, October the 11th, and go 2 hours each Sunday.
Oh, each Sunday, that's great. Just to mention, though, the participants who registered provided a phone number and an email. So each registrant, as a participant, provided their mailing address, their phone number, and their email, because we weren't certain we'd have their current information in the national database. So
Okay.
hopefully you have what's current for Beverly, because that's what she provided. In the case of Ted, I relied on the national database. I wasn't aware you were using a different one.
Okay. So October the 11th is what you guys forecast for your start,
Yes.
and then you're gonna proceed each Sunday.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's great. That's great. I trust everyone else. I mean, it's after consultation, everyone was comfortable with that. Correct.
As far as the ones that we got responses from, yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm comfortable with that as well, from the standpoint that I don't want us to get stressed out or anxious about our start times in regards to the programs, to the studies, because again, with this new format that we're kind of introducing, it's about moving forward, and what that time frame will look like can vary. I was sharing with some other friends that it's conceivable, depending on how well we're able to navigate this new frontier, that this conceivably could be something, depending on availability of facilitators, it could be on an ongoing basis, based on facilitators and the expressed desire to have, individuals to sign up for it. I know in talking with, for example, with Adina, she had shared that her experience from going through this process thus far has indicated that, the timing for some families may not have the best, obviously, with school starting and things of that nature. And out of that, what I've listened and learned about is that some of the friends have indicated like December, December or even into February could possibly be a more, receptive time frame for them and their families. So I share that only from the standpoint to say that if during this process we hear of folks that can't fulfill it, that have to back out or whatever the case might be, let us be sensitive to what timing they might be more receptive to. And as a group, obviously, we can consult to see as we develop this process, do we want to look at, reintroducing registration so that we could conceivably go back and capture some of those folks who said possibly December or February, March, April, again, it's an ongoing process where we at Louhelen would like to think that we could conceivably have ongoing, studies. So I put that out there for any feedback from you guys.
Makes sense to me.
Okay. Yeah.
I
So,
do have my feedback on that.
yeah, that's what I was referencing,
Yeah.
our conversation.
Can I just do a quick parenthesis to that, Cam? Because I'm
Please
going
do.
to duck out here. I'm on kid duty. The only thing from me in terms of logistics is that I finally did get the packages in the mail. And so since our group got reconfigured, do you want me to just hang on to them for now, or do you want me to ship them back to you?
I see Liz nodding affirmative, and I think so as well, especially in light of the fact that when this window opens up, that information will be readily available for you.
Sure. And according to the post office, they were not late. There was a sticker that said to be delivered by September 25th.
What?
Even though you mailed them so long ago. I know. So according to them, they were totally on track.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But they came yesterday, so they're not lost. Thank you.
That's interesting how you could let us just redefine what's late.
Right.
Didn't Laura's she had to sign for it and you didn't ask for it to be signed for? Remember
Yeah,
you
none
put
of
hers?
them.
Yeah.
True, I did.
I think maybe it was divine intervention based on
Yeah.
heavy needs. Maybe you needed to meet that male person that you had to interact with.
Yeah,
Laura.
get them signed up for the class.
Right.
Well, UPS has been having some troubles of their own, and so different directions and this and that, they're in turmoil themselves, so one never knows.
I'm gonna duck out. Just good to see everybody. I'm sure
Appreciate
we'll continue
you.
the conversation, and I'm here if I'm needed.
Thank you, Adina. We appreciate you stopping
Good
in.
to see everybody.
Good to see you, Adina. Bye-bye.
So
According to Wiktionary, stopping, the act of something that stops, a halt.
I didn't do that. Wasn't me. Let's do this then, Liz.
Sorry about that.
Oh, was that you, Van? Thank you. Otherwise, we would have been all day talking. Oh, I want to.
That was my assistant on the phone. I don't know why she chimes in from time to time.
Okay. All
Just
right.
bizarre.
So, who's the recent one that's going to be starting, Liz? I think that's Lauren Damon, correct? Maybe. Yes.
They moved their date. What is your new date?
We moved everything back 2 weeks.
So it's October
12, I think it is. Is that
okay.
right?
Okay.
Hang on a second. Let me look. Yeah. First session would be Monday, October 12th. We still have a couple of people. One person said he can't make the revised schedule. Paula's okay. And the others we haven't heard back from.
Who's
So we
the,
got
is
to
it,
him.
is is it Dale that says he cannot make the revised?
No, it's, what's the guy's name?
Oh, Mahari.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of family
Yes.
situation.
Yeah. All right. And Joyce, did she? Oh, you haven't heard back from her yet. Okay.
And I've got
Yeah.
to pursue Amy. She's not, she gets distracted. I'll run her down, find out what she can do.
Well, you've got
All
the
right.
magic touch. She's been tough to reach, so that's good. You've got the
Yeah.
magic touch.
I'll
Because
run
I'm-
down, get with the others as well. And
What's that?
Dan,
so, Damon, maybe we should talk to them so that Mahari can come also, possibly. You want to check on another set of dates with them? Maybe you and I can talk about that later.
Yeah, let's talk about it offline.
Since we can do it outside of October. I didn't think that we could, but we can do it later in October.
Well, I can tell you from the tone of Paula's response was, let's not keep changing dates. A little brusque. So,
well, diversity is a virtue.
you put it so nicely, Liz.
Well, I'm gathering that she was probably one of the first to sign up.
No, she was later. She was just before the deadline. Paula signed up on the 4th.
Okay. And
Ben, I'm sorry, when did you say you all were starting? It's not the 27th anymore?
No, today, the 27th.
You are starting today?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, well, Cam, your answer to the answer to your question is we have Ben and Ruth starting today. Then we have Oliver and Dawn starting the 30th. And the rest are in October.
okay. Well, let's revisit just quickly with Laura and Damon and listening and connecting with the individuals. There's not a question. You've actually have had contact, or is there a question as to do we have the right numbers or the right emails or whatever? Is that an issue at all?
Not that I'm aware of. The fifth person, I don't have her name in front of me. I have sent emails to her, not heard any responses, but they've not bounced back either.
Yeah, you mean Joyce Harmson, the latest addition to your group?
Yeah.
She's a family friend of Laura. So if Laura uses her last name Love, L-O-V-E, that might trigger something.
I did call her and haven't heard back from her. I'll do that again. I'll call again.
Oh, okay. She's an old family friend. Our parents and her family were.
Okay. So so we have a high degree of comfort that our contact information is not an issue. Cool.
Correct.
Yeah, the survey itself asked for their.
If I could take a step back for a moment, though, because I think we're all having this issue of juggling schedules. Is there a piece of software that we could use to I don't know, help smooth out all these possibilities or keep track of them? Because I'm writing stuff down on a piece of paper, but
I've used a program called Doodle. It's
Right.
available on the web.
Yeah.
And it helps groups to schedule things.
Doodle, huh? Like
Yep.
scribbling?
Doodle.
What is it?
Doodle. Doodle, I believe, .com. I'm sure if you Google it, you'll get there. But anyways, briefly, it just allows you to enter like a variety of possible dates and times.
Yeah.
And then you can email it out to your group, and everybody can reply by a check mark. I can make this one, make that one, but not this. Could if I had to change, but so there's some flexibility, and that's helped with.
Is that a free app, or is it?
Yes, it's free.
Oh,
I mean,
good.
there is You can buy a license and get more features, but you can do pretty much everything you need with the free version.
Well, that'd be handy. Thanks.
Excellent.
If I might mention one option to consider, I think Oliver used it for his team, is he organized a Zoom and got everybody on. I think all but 2 people showed or something like that, but he got them all in kind of one space. And then they talked calendars and sort of met each other. And
That is nice. That's a good idea too.
of course, there were those that didn't, the 2 that didn't come, and he had to chase them down. But for the most part, he got a general consensus of what would work for his group.
Yeah, yeah.
I might add that somebody that I've spoken with that attempted to use it, use the Google Doodle, had more problems that people weren't responding to the emails that go out. So I'm hearing a mix of positive and a little negative, but it sounds generally more positive to me than negative.
I've had it where there's too many different dates that I had put down, and then the people chose their dates, and it's like 12 people, maybe 8 of them responded, but I only got 3 that were on one date, because they were spread out. Offerings of too many dates is what I thought, or whatever.
That's where conversation can be helpful, because they're like, well, if you do it after 1, I can do it. Well, how do you bring that up, right? In a doodle.
Yeah.
You guys are
I have a
soldiers.
question
though.
about the content of the material. Could I raise that now?
I think so.
Sure. So the materials you sent us, the hard copy, at least, I'm looking at in session, this is part 2, in session 1, story about the Turner and Mr. Wilson, Turner family and Mr. Wilson. The material was edited, I think, from an original version. And one of the questions at the end of the session, so I'm looking at questions on page 9 of 34 in the booklet.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 2 asks the question, the House of Justice states that we should have no doubt in America that race prejudice will be finally exorcised from the body politic. Discuss the necessary precondition given in the quote to translate our community's social vision into reality. And this edition that we've received does not include that quote. I actually literally cut and pasted it in my copy from one of the earlier versions. Well, it looks like this. So I added it, it's on page 7. The first quote on page 7 says, it's from the House also, you are encouraged to take heart from the Master's assurance. But the quote that's missing and is referred to in the question is the quote that would have followed, in the future, the cause of God will spread throughout America. Millions will be enlisted under its banner, and race prejudice will finally be exorcised from the body politic. This have no doubt. And it goes on to talk about some of the preconditions. So just wanted to make you all aware.
Yes, thank you so much.
I think, what we'll probably do today, because I expect we'll probably reach that point in the material, is to skip the question and then look at the clock at the end of our day. And if we have time, we'll share the quote on the screen and maybe talk about it then.
I will investigate that more.
I'm going to have to drop off since we've got children coming over, and so I'll talk with you all later.
All right then, Ted. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And we'll look into that, Liz, but
And I noticed a small editing thing that was suggested on one of the earlier editions, and it's still included. I feel it's incorrect in question number 3 on page 9 also. Question number 3 reads, what are the characteristics that we need, each of us might try to display, to demonstrate Baha'u'llah is called a selfless and steadfast service, and goes on. And it reads better to strike, I believe, that you could strike need each of us and just write what are the characteristics we need to display or
We might try to display or something.
yeah. That's it. That's how it would read more clearly.
Thank you.
what page again? It's on page 9.
34.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I haven't been able to follow any of these references in the numbers of this booklet, which is what I was sent.
Yeah.
I think is the correct booklet, but I haven't been able to follow any of those references, Ben, on numbers, page numbers.
Yeah, there are two booklets in one. So the first one has 18 pages. Part 1 has 18 pages and part 2 has 34. So you have to move to like the back section.
Oh, you were talking about part 2, Ben?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
I
sorry.
see. No wonder. No wonder I'm looking, and I'm not
that would
finding.
definitely make it hard to follow.
Thank
And
you.
is the page with the references? Oh,
Yeah, the references for part 2 start on, where is it? Don't see it.
just looking for the page with the citations.
Yeah, I don't see the citations on either part 1 or part 2.
If I might suggest, I don't know if you're involved in the editing, but it would help, I think, in the future to have version numbers on the document itself. You know, like they do with Ruhi books, you're using a pre-publication edition version,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
... something.
That would be wonderful.
So as we move forward,
Mhm.
because we're still compiling books, right, Liz?
Yeah, we have a set right now, but we went with supposedly the approved version.
From the facilitator training.
Yeah, they sent out an updated version.
Okay, well, this is where reflection meetings of this kind come in handy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What's up next? Who's on first?
I think I have what I needed to learn from the group.
I have another question. I can't remember. It seems like on the 12th when we met, that I just don't remember exactly what was mentioned about devotions. I know that in the Indiana High School, the devotions were set at the plenary level. How are we handling that this time around?
Pretty much like a devotion. I mean, like a study circle.
Okay.
You're free to set those up. We can share the devotions we used previously, I think, if that might be helpful.
That would be great. I think it would always be a resource that's handy and available. If we don't have time to prepare our own.
Yeah, but it might be one set or two sets. It might not be 8 sessions worth or something, you know.
Okay, but it would still be something that would be
Something,
beneficial, I
yeah.
think.
Will you send that out today?
Yes, I'll try to find them. Yes.
I think we're planning to provide or plan the devotions for our first meeting. And I was going to consult with Ruth, but suggest that we may ask the participants to take responsibility for one session and then somebody else for the next, so on.
That's an excellent.
Mhm. Be their service.
Mm-hmm.
That's how a lot of the sessions.
To help people feel invested and committed to the group is beneficial.
It's a good idea.
That's how a lot of the study circles are doing it now, where they have the participants take turns. Especially the other books, you know, like 8, 9, 10.
Or sometimes they do open prayer. One of mine does open prayer. So I guess it just varies. If you want to ask them, what, you know, whatever. Get out and see. I found that other quote that you were talking about, Ben, that wasn't in there.
Mm-hmm.
You were suggesting reading the entire quote or just up to a certain point?
Where is it?
I have it in the one that you gave me from when you all got trained on this book. And you're letting me see it. When you all, Cam and Liz, got trained on it. And it's on page 16 in that version. In the future, the cause of God will spread throughout America. I can take a picture and send it to you if you like.
Yeah.
Ah,
In the future, I'm looking at it as well. It was in this one, Liz.
yes. Okay.
Have to find
Good,
it.
Laura, we have it. We'll put it out on WhatsApp so people can grab it and include it in there.
Ben, you were talking about the whole thing, the whole quote, because that's the second part of that. It's included.
So the part that I clipped and pasted into my document starts in the future, the cause of God, and it ends at appreciate the moral imperative behind this aim.
Okay. So you did the whole quote. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
You have that on what page, Laura?
In that book, it's on 16.
At the top,
of
in the
16.
future. Yeah, got it.
I think, let me see. I think it's in the compilation, the extracts from letters written on behalf of the House of Justice.
Yes, it says it comes from extracts on behalf of the House of Justice dated April 1996.
Right. I'm just trying to find which page it is on that. I wonder if it's that some.
Yeah, I'm not finding it in any of my versions.
Actually, in this version, it starts on 15 with "you are encouraged to take heart," but it has another sentence added on that you don't have in our current book. And at the end of that sentence, it has "so nobly exemplified," and has a colon, and then it has this other quote. So it was, yeah, they go together.
Okay. So we know where to turn to find to make the adjustments. What are you going to put on? What are we going to put on WhatsApp, Liz?
The quote that's missing, and acknowledge that it's missing on from page 9.
And what were you saying, Laura, when you said it's actually on page or version or something was on page?
Okay, so it starts in our current version that we all have, it starts, "you are encouraged to take heart." But there's another sentence after that. In the other version, it says, "long beset with pitfalls." And then it says, "in summoning us to the great work of creating anew the world, Baha'u'llah exhorts us to adhere to a standard of conduct which he himself so nobly exemplified, colon." And then it goes into the quote. "In the future, the cause of God will spread throughout America. Millions will be enlisted under its banner, and race prejudice will finally be exercised from the body politic. Of this have no doubt." And so that's a really good quote to have in terms of encouragement.
Yeah, I found it also in the compilation that was sent out in the packet, the letters, extracts from letters written on behalf of the House of Justice, the compilation 1996 to 2020. It's on page 2, and the paragraph that's quoted, it's extracted from a paragraph that begins, "if we are to avoid becoming entrammeled in the enervating coils of cynicism, da 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 da." Next sentence is, "in the future, the cause of God will spread throughout America," and so on. So, and my better half has just arrived.
Ruth?
Hey there, Ruth.
Hi, nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Just combing through and doing some tweaks on our booklets. Okay. What else stands out? What else is should we be aware of?
That one question that
Yeah, I mentioned that. And we've been in touch with everybody on the list.
Yeah,
And
Kirk just,
yeah, I saw the note from Kirk about not receiving the material yet. And I think you knew, Liz or Cam, that one of our group members dropped out, Jackie Schwartz.
Jackie, let's see here. Let me make sure.
she was trained, she somehow mixed up what it was. And she said, "oh, I was a facilitator for, the Indiana schools. I don't feel like I need to take it as a participant."
She took 1 and 2, huh?
Yeah, she facilitated it.
For a different summer school, the Indiana summer school.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
So you confirmed Stephen Miller, Rebecca Birch, Myra Kautz, and of course Kirk.
Correct.
And I just sent you Kirk's mailing address that he provided in his registration, and we will send a new book out to him.
You have the mailing address upstairs. his address? Because he gave it to us on the phone number.
I guess so. I can look for it.
Yeah. Anyways,
So how did we give them Jackie Schwartz, Liz?
she
Jackie
had
Schwartz registered on the
She
3rd.
registered as a facilitator?
No,
Participant.
She just misunderstood what she was signing up for, she said.
Yeah, there's so many of them out there.
So my next question then would be, so
I know
Is
where
she
your
re-
head's going.
so when we get some additional names of participants, she's receptive to following through as a facilitator?
Possibly. I know she's doing a lot already in the
Yeah.
Columbus area, but that's
Yeah.
a possibility.
That's a conversation I should probably have with her, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Well, I'm learning a lot through this call, Liz.
so you didn't have anybody else that's still waiting to get into a group? We could add
No.
to the last minute addition in our group if they're available this afternoon.
Yeah. There is one group that hasn't yet finalized. So, and as far as I know, it should materialize.
Okay. Well, we're flexible.
I think we're good.
I'll have to check the phone line.
Yes.
I'll do that today.
Liz, did Ted send you the link that he had set up for our start date prior to us realizing that we needed to reset the date? Has he sent you that link?
He has not sent it to me. Might have sent it
Okay.
to Cam. If you forward it,
I'll look.
that would be helpful.
Okay.
I've only been helping Cam because he's been swamped. So he gets half the communications and I get the other half. And we both have our day jobs. So.
Oh, this is my day job.
And it is, yeah. I don't know about the junior youth thing. Are people? One other thought I have is the pieces that are from the junior youth material. I feel like if we're running out of time, I would just sort of talk about, I might sort of skip reading through the whole thing, maybe just read the story and talk about how the youth material, is used. Because it's my understanding that it's, a lot of the reason it's in here is to familiarize the parents with the program, or if you have youth in your group that, they could relate to it and do the questions and so forth. Any thoughts about that?
She's referring to
The
the,
breakout, the 1A.
Yeah.
the 1A.
Yeah.
Two?
Yeah. Yeah. I always have an opinion, Cam, so you go ahead.
Session 2? They're doing 2, right?
Yes.
section part 2, and we're talking about breakout session 1A, which just starts on page 10 of the,
It's just taken from, I forget which of the junior youth program books.
it's the story
Walking the
about the
Straight
young
Path.
woman in China
Yeah.
who married the wealthy man's son.
Yeah. And you say depending on time.
Well, because, this doing things on Zoom, particularly for hours,
Yeah.
is just so tiring, and I don't see it as so essential to the program myself.
Yeah. In that particular case, my response, Liz, would be that, I would defer to the facilitators to use their discretion. It's not a case that, it's not.
Yeah.
So, because we know through the case studies, there's really, and going through the facilitator training, with case studies, there were some hidden jewels that needed to be unpacked in those that.
Right, that really bring out the walking the path of race amity, right? If there are sensitivities that can be raised.
So if I did
Which is
go ahead.
which is back to the goal, of
Yeah.
this, of the work. So, you know, maybe there's 2 questions and not all 12 or 7 or 11 or whatever, but, or
Right.
your own questions that speak better
Yeah, I
to
mean,
that.
to me, the exercises are for the kids, you know, that are doing the program. They're very elementary.
My dear Watson.
That's what Dave and I were thinking, is that they were from the junior youth, or for the junior youth and the kids and whoever's working with them as well. But you're saying that there's more, and so I haven't looked at them closely, to be honest. So
Yeah.
you're saying that there are gems in there that might be helpful?
Yes.
My only thing I thought was that maybe it would give people a chance, people that don't have junior youth, not had them in the classes.
Right.
It might give them an opportunity to see what is in one example at least. One example of what's in there.
Yeah.
So that they can share it with others and have others perhaps,
Right.
you know, lead them others to it.
Mm-hmm.
Other parents or whoever.
So we'll probably read the story and just present, you know, this is how the junior youth might study this material, and allow people to look at the questions for comprehension, look at the vocabulary exercise, and look at the discussion question, and maybe spend some time discussing the issue of sorrow, but not necessarily, you know, spend a lot of time worrying about the vocabulary, for instance, or some of the comprehension issues, which might be,
Right.
if we had junior youth in our group, it might be a whole different experience.
Right. One of the approaches that we've seen used is when the friends are asked to look through the lens of what we're studying. So if we look through the lens of race amity, how does this story bring about higher understanding, you know, across cultures, across communities, particularly those things that are subtle, that we, you know, can easily just sort of step over or disregard or something. So, but you're right, Van, all those things may not be pertinent. And like Cam is saying, however you guys
Because I mean,
want to
it's
best utilize it. Yeah. You're in charge.
yeah, it's going to evolve based on the texture of the conversation at that moment in time, and the fact that the facilitators are receptive and sensitive to, depending on how that texture of the conversation develops, will guide, I think, as to how much time is needed to reflect on that. Questions that come out of that after you share the story will hopefully give some indication of the insight or comfort level that the friends have with it, you know. And again, I go back to, as a facilitators, I would defer to your judgment as to how that's taking place.
Okay.
I got a question, Liz. You said something a question you said was, when looking at this story through the lens of race unity, what was the rest of what you said? Do you remember?
You know, there might be subtleties or insights about culture, how to raise understanding of the culture or the circumstance that could be easily overlooked if we were just venturing on a more popular or common path.
Yeah, yeah. The example that comes to mind for me specifically from a case study was when we did it through the facilitators, and one of the things that caught our conversation was about, you know, with the which one was it, with the soccer game, and how that was addressed in regards to the youth and how they went and they approached everyone. But then one of the points that came out of that was that there was very little conversation, although that it was addressed. Yes, we visited the parents, but the majority of the text, the majority of the conversation dwelled upon how did, what was her name? Rebecca, and her mom feel, you know, about what was just their perspective on some of the comments that were shared because of the soccer game and the comments and the parents and kids being upset. And we realized that we really didn't do it. I don't know if we didn't do a deep dive in regards to how both parents felt. You know, we didn't flush out how could we have developed that conversation and the relationship, not only between the kids, but between the parents as well. So it was really some rich conversation that came out of that. So that's what was in my mind when I said, you know, there's some hidden jewels of opportunity, you know, so with us having that in our mind, you know, as we look at any aspect of it, you know, again, the conversation that takes place is going to, I think, be an indication to the facilitators as to, I think that point is captured, or I think people are thinking along those lines. And yes, I think we can move forward without spending a great deal of time on it, because we can capture those elements even as we go into the case studies as well, you know.
I'd just like to make a comment that for me, as in my first run through this material, I found that some of these simpler examples in the material that many times adults will want to gloss over, that, you know, it seems too elementary or whatever to spend the time on it. I really felt as though stories that are so simple can be so hugely profound and can so strongly speak to the heart because it's simple, because it's basic. And just, I think that it, you know, to keep that in mind as facilitators, that there may be sensitivity there or a need for a focus on that level of sensitivity, that sometimes we get so busy in our lives and we've got so much to cover that we miss those gems that are apparent in the really simple material.
Very well said. Thank you.
All right, friends. I'm just taking a glance at the quarter after. I didn't want to hold you too far beyond. I know some of us have some other engagements that we're going to need to get prepared for. So WhatsApp is always available. You know, text, call us. But I appreciate you stopping in today and helping us get a greater understanding and pointing out some of these questions in the text and the literature itself that we can hopefully make the correct adjustments in. Okay. All right, friends.
Pam, Liz, and all the other people that are behind the scenes on this project.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate you guys.
Yes.
Well, appreciate the work, the immense amount of work that you and Liz are doing to get this thing happen. It boggles my mind a little bit, to tell you the truth.
You know, as Van said, there are some other folks behind the scenes, you know, that still contribute, like June and June.
And Oliver.
And Oliver. Yeah. So
Michael
Thank you all very much.
all righty,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you all.
Allow
Allow
Allow.
Lawapa.